Hi there, friend. I'm Marve Iconus from Lead Life Well, and today I want to share a kind of humorous story with you that will ultimately serve you as a leader. So hang in there with me. So recently, my grandson turned 6, and the plan for that day was to go to an activity at the library. Except that my daughter did not reserve spots for them. She had a lot going on. Their air conditioner went out, just all kinds of things happening in their life, and that didn't happen. Well, that was beyond the pale for my granddaughter. Who it wasn't even her birthday, right? It was my grandson's birthday. However, she was very disappointed in my daughter. And so out of frustration, my daughter asked her if she thought she could have planned things better. And she said, of course. Well, when you're 9, you think you can do all sorts of things. But there's adults that have been in similar spaces. We had a dear friend who, before we all had kids, knew exactly how everyone should parent, except for that he just had no kids and no experience. And those of you who are parents know that kids don't always conform to the way the books say it should all pan out. You get tired, there's all kinds of things happening, and it's just a lot to handle. So, what sounds good in a book just doesn't always work in reality. Well, it can come across very judgmental, like my granddaughter, believing that she could plan things better, or our dear friend who thought he could parent better. Leaders, we come across the same way. We really need to guard against coming across judgmental to our people and take the time to really investigate what's going on. Maybe you don't know all the facts. Maybe you don't know the whole situation. So giving the other person the benefit of the doubt, because when you don't, it really does nibble away at trust and make for some hard feelings. So as a leader, what can you do differently in those flop moments where you think somebody should have done something, but then in reality they didn't? Well, we really need to ask great questions in that moment to investigate what was the real situation, what was going on. I love that Stephen Covey urges us to seek to understand before attempting to be understood, right? Just because you want something to be so doesn't mean that it necessarily is. So explore with that person with open-ended questions, get a better grasp on what the situation actually is. And really don't ignore the feeling part of it. Sometimes we feel like in the workplace, we need to ignore feelings, but feelings are a factor. So really what my daughter needed in those moments was not to be corrected, but to have some compassion for what that she had been up against that particular week. And the same thing could be true for your people. It's an opportunity for you to really understand the position that they're currently in. And then two moments that seem really negative have the potential to really build trust depending on how you handle them. So you want to build trust, right? That's our goal as leaders. So how do you address those touchy moments really does make the difference. And then third, I want you to consider increasing your touch points. These give you a chance to kind of inquire about progress and maybe be alerted to some of the potential hiccups long before they actually take place. How are you going to have a rhythm of touching base with your people? And then finally, even better, make sure you are setting really clear expectations in the get-go and have a rhythm of following up. It's really about how you explain things, how you follow up, and then how you interact with them along the way. That's really going to make a difference. I have no doubt that my granddaughter will manage her own household with excellence. She's that kind of gal. But I also am sure that there will be some areas that she will fall short, just like the rest of us, because we all do, right? We need to, as leaders, recognize the areas that we need to grow in just as much as the areas that our people need to grow in. You want to help them see you're working on things too, because you have something to work on. You would like to explore how you can lead in a more productive way, I would love the opportunity to chat with you. We can explore how coaching might serve you as a leader going forward.